She called me her driver at a party I helped fund, then told me I should be grateful to be there. I didn't argue, I just left. 2 weeks later, her parents knocked on my door. You can be with someone for years and still not truly know who they are. Or maybe deep down you do know, but you keep making excuses until reality forces your eyes open. Either way, what happened last month flipped my world upside down. I'm 32, and I'd been in a relationship with Erica, who's 29, for just over 2 years. We first met at a bar trivia night through some mutual friends. She was stunning, carried herself with a kind of effortless confidence, and had this magnetic pull that made everyone want to be near her. I was hooked from the start. Erica worked in IT support at a tech company downtown. It was an entry-level gig with modest pay, but if you listened to her talk about it, you'd think she was managing the entire department. I run my own small general contracting business. Nothing flashy, but it's honest work, and I built it from scratch. It pays well, and I take pride in it. In the beginning, everything felt easy. We'd spend weekends wandering the city, trying out new places to eat, catching artsy movies at this little theater she liked. But thinking back, there were always small cracks. She'd poke fun at the way I dressed, make side remarks about my pickup truck, and in 2 years she never once introduced me to any of her coworkers. I brushed it all off. I thought I was in love. About a month ago, she told me her company was throwing a big client appreciation event at a high-end hotel downtown. Erica was on the planning committee and seemed totally frazzled, trying to make sure every detail was perfect. One evening, while scrolling on her phone, she casually mentioned Jessica from IT is bringing her boyfriend. He's a lawyer or something. Can I bring someone too? I asked without thinking. I could come along, give you some support. There was a slight pause. Barely there, but I noticed it. I guess you could, she said. It's just a bunch of work people talking about boring corporate stuff. She'd been tight on money lately. Her rent had just gone up, and she'd been hinting that she might have to move. I offered to chip in to help with party costs. I ended up covering her new dress, which cost $450, a gift basket for her manager that ran $200, and a few other little party supplies. Not an enormous amount, but not chump change either. When the night of the party came around, I made sure I looked sharp. Wore my best suit, the one I saved for meeting with big clients. Got a fresh haircut. Really went all out. Erica barely looked at me when I picked her up. Just asked if I remembered the gift basket. She seemed tense, and as we got closer to the venue, I could feel her withdrawing. Once we walked into the hotel lobby, she started speeding up, putting some space between us. Out of nowhere, she said, "Maybe you should wait at the bar. I've got to check on a few things first." "I'll come with you," I said. "Might be able to help carry something." She didn't argue, but she didn't look thrilled either. Inside the ballroom, everything looked impressive. Dimmed lighting, an open bar, hors d'oeuvres being passed around. Erica spotted a few colleagues right away and moved toward them with me trailing behind. "Erica, this setup is incredible," said a woman in a black cocktail dress. "And who's this?" I was just about to introduce myself when Erica jumped in. "This is Ryan," she said, with a small wave of her hand. "My driver for the night." It felt like the air had been knocked out of me. Her coworker raised an eyebrow, clearly noticing the tailored suit I was wearing. "Your driver?" Erica let out this forced laugh. "Yeah, he was sweet enough to drop me off, but he's actually heading out now." She turned to me. "Right, Ryan? 2 years together, and that's who I was to her. Some hired chauffeur." I gently pulled her aside. "What was that all about?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. She rolled her eyes, scanning the room behind me. "Ryan, please. These people are important. My job could be on the line. Can you just wait in the truck or something? I helped pay for this party," I said calmly. "I paid for your dress." That's when she looked me dead in the eye and said it. "You should be grateful I even let you in." In that instant, everything came into focus. The digs, the secrecy, the hesitation. It wasn't insecurity or pressure. This was who she really was. I didn't yell. I didn't fight. I just nodded and said, "You're right." Then I walked away. I grabbed my jacket from CoatCheck and left without saying another word. The drive home was quiet. I didn't put on any music, didn't touch my phone. I just sat in silence, letting the weight of it all settle. By the time I got to my place, I had a dozen missed calls and texts from Erica. "Where are you? Are you seriously leaving me stranded? Stop being dramatic. You're embarrassing me." I didn't reply. I turned off my phone, grabbed a cold beer from the fridge, and sat on my couch. Strangely, I didn't feel angry. I felt clear, like a fog had finally lifted. The next morning there was a knock at my door. It was Erica. Her eyes were swollen like she'd been crying, but her eyeliner was flawless. That was Erica, always ready for the camera. "What the hell was last night?" she asked, stepping toward me. "You just left?" I had to get an Uber home. I leaned against the doorframe, not moving, to let her in. "You called me your driver," I said. "It was a joke," she snapped. "God, you're so sensitive." Then she added, "Those people are important. I couldn't have them thinking I was dating, a contractor." "A contractor," I repeated. She had the decency to look a little embarrassed. "I didn't mean it like that. It's just office politics and stuff." And then came the tears. She was good at that, could flip them on like a switch. She apologized, said she was stressed and trying to impress her boss, that she was being stupid. She offered to take me on a weekend trip. Just the two of us, said she loved me. "I love you, Ryan," she said, reaching out to touch my face. "You know that, right? I messed up. I'm sorry." I acted like I believed her. I let her inside, made her coffee, nodded in the right places. She seemed to think we were back on track when she left an hour later. The days that followed were normal on the surface. If anything, she was more affectionate than usual. She texted constantly, heart emojis, inside jokes, talking about our future. I played along. Then, about a week after the party, she called me sounding upbeat. "Guess what?" she said. "My birthday's coming up, and I want to host a small dinner. Just a few work friends at that new place, Eladora's." "That sounds nice," I replied, keeping my tone flat. "Yeah, but here's the thing," she said, with a sheepish laugh. "I'm kinda strapped for cash after the party expenses. Could you help out a little?" "You want me to pay for your birthday dinner?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "It would mean a lot," she said, quickly. "Just my coworkers, networking opportunity." I noticed she never mentioned me coming along. "How much are we talking?" "About $1,200 for the private dining room," she said. "They need a card on file to hold the reservation." "I'll put a card down for you," I said. "Just let me know when you need it." "You're the best," she squealed. "I'll come by tomorrow." She came by the next day to collect the card. She didn't notice that it wasn't the one I usually used. She kissed me on the cheek, told me I was amazing, and left. Before she got too far, I asked casually, "So what time should I show up?" She paused. "Oh, it's just going to be work people. Boring shop talk. You wouldn't really enjoy it." I smiled and nodded. "Got it. Thanks for understanding," she said. "Seriously, you're the best." On the night of the dinner, I called the credit card company and reported the card as lost. They immediately canceled it and issued a new one. Then I put on an even sharper suit than I'd worn to her company party and headed to Eladora's. I didn't go in through the front. Instead, I took a seat at the bar off to the side, where I had a clear view of the private dining area, just separated by a decorative wood partition. At around 7:30, Erica arrived in a new dress I'd never seen before. Her coworkers followed close behind. I recognized one of them as the same woman from the party who'd witnessed the whole driver moment. There was also a guy I hadn't seen before, a tall man in a tailored jacket who had his hand on Erica's lower back. She didn't move away. In fact, she leaned into it. I ordered a scotch and waited. They were laughing, sipping wine, clinking glasses in celebration. A few of them stood up to take group photos with Erica at the center, beaming like she was born for that spotlight. I watched from the bar, swirling the amber in my glass, unnoticed but completely dialed in. What struck me most was how different she seemed. Not just the way she looked, but how she carried herself. At home, Erica often complained about her job, talked about her coworkers like they were clueless, but here she was electric, lively, radiant. She looked like a completely different person. At 9:45, just as I expected, the server came by their table with a check. Erica pulled out the credit card I'd given her and handed it over with a flourish. I could picture her brushing off the other offers to pitch in. "It's my birthday." "I've got this," she probably said with that performative laugh. The server took the card and walked off. A few minutes passed, then he came back. I watched him lean down to whisper something to her. Her smile faltered. I saw her blink, then reach for her phone. Her fingers moved quickly as she typed. her face tightening with every second. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Ryan, something's wrong with your card. It keeps declining. Can you call me right now? I didn't respond. A minute later, another message. This is serious. I look like a total idiot right now. The bill is over $1,200. Still, I stayed quiet. I sipped my scotch. Across the room, Erica was visibly flustered now. Her posture stiffened as she tried to explain something to her colleagues. She fumbled through her wallet trying other cards. I already knew they wouldn't work. She just complained about all her credit cards being maxed out a week earlier. By the fifth message, I finally replied. Look behind you. I watched as she read it. Her head snapped up in confusion, scanning the restaurant. Then her eyes landed on me. Her face went pale. I stood up slowly, took one last sip of my drink, and walked toward the private dining room. As I got closer, I pulled a slim envelope from the inside pocket of my suit jacket. The entire table went quiet when I arrived. Erica's eyes widened. I could feel the stares around the table. Some looked confused. Some looked uncomfortable. But a few, the woman from the party especially, seemed to already know exactly what was about to happen. Isn't that your driver? One of them asked with a slight smirk. I offered the table a warm, easy smile. Actually, I said, I was her boyfriend. For 2 years. I opened the envelope and laid out several photographs on the table. Pictures of us on vacation, at family events, at the beach, decorating the tree last Christmas. I'm also the guy who paid for her dress for your client party. The one who covered the gift basket for her boss. The guy she introduced as her driver in a room full of strangers. There was a thick, stunned silence. The guy who'd been touching her earlier pulled his hand back. He looked like he was trying to disappear into his chair. Her boss, sitting at the head of the table, leaned forward and narrowed her eyes at the photos. Erica finally found her voice. Ryan, she hissed, can we please talk about this outside? No need, I said lightly. I just came to wish you a happy birthday. Oh, and let you know the card you tried to use. I reported it lost yesterday. What the hell is wrong with you? She blurted out, no longer trying to keep up the act. I adjusted my jacket and stood a little taller. And to answer your question from 2 weeks ago, no, I'm not grateful you let me in, but I am thankful for the clarity. Then I turned to the table. Have a great night, everyone. Looks like this one's on Erica. As I turned to leave, she lunged up from her seat and grabbed my arm. You can't just leave me like this. At least help me with the bill. I looked down at her hand, then back into her eyes. Go to hell, I said quietly. Then I walked out. I walked out without looking back. But the chaos behind me was impossible to ignore. I could hear Erica calling my name, her voice cracking, desperate, people murmuring, some laughing in disbelief. Someone even suggesting they all just split the bill. I didn't slow down. I got in my truck and drove off into the night. For the first time in a long while, I felt free. The next day, the messages were relentless. She texted, she called, she left voicemails. They ranged from begging me to forgive her to accusing me of ruining her life and threatening to destroy my reputation. I blocked her number. That didn't stop her. She showed up at my place twice that week. I didn't answer the door. She left tear-streaked voicemails from friends' phones. I deleted them all without listening. I didn't care what she had to say anymore. I'd heard enough. Then about a week after the whole restaurant meltdown, I got a LinkedIn message from one of her coworkers, a woman who'd been at both the party and the dinner. She just wrote, "Hey, I wanted to say thank you. You did the right thing." Apparently, the fallout from the dinner had been bigger than I expected. Turns out Erica had been lying to her boss about her job role, claiming she was part of major projects she'd never touched. Once her manager saw those photos and realized she'd been putting on a front, they started digging. HR got involved. People started talking. The guy who'd been getting handsy with her at the dinner, a senior developer she'd been secretly dating on the side, he immediately ghosted her after the incident, probably to save his own neck. Less than 2 weeks after that birthday dinner, there was a knock at my door. When I opened it, I found an older couple standing there. They looked out of place and more than a little uncomfortable, like they were trying to decide if they were making a mistake. But I recognized them instantly. It was Erica's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Langston. I said, a little surprised. I'd only met them once before in passing. Ryan, her dad said, clearing his throat. Mind if we come in for a moment? I stepped aside and let them in. We sat down in the living room. The tension in the room was thick, but they seemed determined to push through it. We just wanted to come and apologize. Her mom finally said, "For everything Erica put you through." Her dad nodded. "She's not doing well. After what happened at the restaurant, she lost her job. She had to move back in with us." "I'm sorry to hear that," I replied. "And I meant it. At least a little. I never wanted to see her crash like this. I just wanted her out of my life." But her mom shook her head. "Don't be sorry. She did this to herself. We've always known Erica had a certain view of the world," her father said. "We probably didn't do her any favors. We spoiled her, told her to use her looks while she had them. We wanted her to find someone stable, someone who could support her. But we never imagined she'd treat someone like you the way she did." That explained a lot. I remembered when her dad once joked about her snagging a solid provider when he found out I owned a business. I hadn't thought much of it then. I do now. "She told us her version of the story at first," he continued. "Said you humiliated her. But eventually, she broke down and admitted everything." Her mom opened her purse and took out a small envelope. She handed it to me. "She's too ashamed to come herself," she said. "But we wanted you to have this." Inside was a check for $925 and a short handwritten note. It read, "For the dress, the gift basket, everything. I'm sorry." I stared at the check for a moment. It wasn't about the money. It never was. She sold some of her designer stuff to pay it back. Her dad said, "We made her. It's not much, but it's a start." I nodded and slid the envelope into my jacket pocket. "Thank you. I appreciate you coming here." They told me she deleted all her social media accounts, said she was going offline to work on herself. I didn't ask for details. I didn't need them. As for me, work is steady, life is calm. I've even started dating again, carefully. A few days ago I had coffee with a woman who teaches kindergarten. When I told her I was a contractor, she didn't flinch or make a joke. She asked questions, listened. She seemed genuinely interested. Sometimes I still think about that night in the hotel ballroom, when Erica turned and called me her driver. It stung. But now I'm oddly thankful for it. Some people reveal themselves in dramatic moments. Others do it through tiny cuts, over and over again, until you finally see them clearly. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. I just wish I had.